on the assumption that you've not done 1D arrays. It's possible that ma'am has done some work with you all on 1D arrays. I just want to start from the beginning and take it up to a certain point. So the first question we have to ask ourselves is, what is an array? So an array, by definition, there are three key parts in understanding what is an array. So by definition, an array is a data structure. So that's the first key word that's important for you to understand. It's a data structure that contains values of the same data type. Okay, the next important point is it's when you put things into an array, they must be of the same data type. So an array is a data structure that contains values of the same data type. And I want to add one other important point. It contains a fixed number of cells, right? So that's the third part. So there are three key essential items that you have to understand when you're working with an array. One, it is a data structure. Two, the data you're putting into the array must be of the same type. And three, an array has a fixed number of cells. So the first thing you're probably thinking, so what is a data structure? So guys, I'm going to say the array is a data structure. It contains values of the same data type, and it has a fixed number of cells. So the first thing we have to understand is, what is a data structure? So if we had, before we come to a data structure, let's talk about a variable. A variable, something you are very familiar with. A variable, you give it a name, for example, num, you put a value in it, and you're storing some value in it. That's just a plain variable, can store one value. But when you talk about a data structure, you're talking about now putting a number of variables together. This is now forming a data structure. A data structure is something that can hold more than one value. Right? It's not a variable. A variable can only hold one value. Right? So the data structure is more powerful. It can store more than one value. So I can put 10 here. I can put 20 there. I can put 30 just as an example. I can store more than one value. So that's what an array allows me to do. It allows me to store more than one value, but the value I put into it must be all of the same data type. So if you choose to put integers in the array, make sure that everything is an integer. If you're putting doubles or float in it, then everything must be a double or float. And if you're putting strings into it, everything should be of type strings. And the array must have a fixed number of cells. So once you define the array, and in this case, there's cell number 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 cells in this array. The size of this array is going to remain fixed at 4. So this, in a nutshell, is basically what we're going to be talking about when we're dealing with an array. Now, it's always nice when you can visualize something. So how do you visualize an array? The best way I find to visualize an array is to draw a structure like this. Okay, so this is my array. Every array, like a variable, you give it a name. So let me call this array ARR, just short for array, right? You can call the array anything you want to. So this is my array. It has a name, right? That's the name of my array. It has positions. So every cell has a position, right? And the key thing to understand that in Java, the position of the first cell is 0. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this